being a musician is obviously, as we've talked about, very difficult. Having to defend your career choices, having to defend funding, having all of these things. What is the thing that always brings you back to music? Like at the end of the day, why music?
The fact that music is a living, it's never ending. It can always be tweaked. It can always be modified. It can always be refined. The fact that it's that living being to me is just so it's so beautiful and incredible. It still blows my mind when I talk about it. I'm getting chills talking about it, and it's just something that I wake up, thinking about.
I think that feeling of like working with other people is something that is, I don't know, it's just like the best part of working in the music industry. That's why I got into it, right? And that was also why I at first when I didn't realize that there was more to it, that's why I turned away from it because I thought, oh, there's all there is to music is playing piano in a practice room and only performing solo, right? And like the reason I'm drawn to theater is because of its like collaborative nature, and that's the thing that makes me really excited for when stuff comes back, that gets me excited about new projects and the possibilities of new projects. It's just like, oh, like what brains can I work with and learn from and jive with. It's just the possibilities are just amazing, and I'm always so excited by that possibility.
Honestly, I can remember so many times in my life where I didn't think music was worth pursuing because people tell you it's a pointless degree. No one needs music. They need doctors or they need this and that. But the more that I see people who are, in distress or just who have nothing else fall on music and lean on music and what we do, the more I think that we do really have a place in the world and imagine what it would be like without us. So I think that's something that brings me back to music is just realizing that I do have a purpose. And especially when I was doing music therapy, I got to see that one on one with people who couldn't even see or hear and how they were still able to enjoy the things that music could provide for them.
And on a like micro level, like when I'm playing a show over and over again, if I really get dark about the show, I will go watch the people coming into the house. I'll go to the front of the theater and just like stand across the street and just like look at everybody coming in the theater, and you can just sense the excitement. Like everybody's just like so they can't wait. You talked about it. Like when you walk into a Broadway house, there's just that energy. And sometimes backstage you don't feel that because you're so worried about or focused on the details of getting your life together, and getting ready to do the work because it is work. It can be really fun work some days, and it can just be work other days. But then I can watch people coming into the theater, and I'm like, oh God, look how excited they are. And then I sit there and I'm like, right, my job is to make sure that they have a great experience, and they will have a great experience if I'm having a great experience. So,
Well, I know specifically speaking from my own experience, there were a lot of schools that required during the audition process. There were a lot of schools that required some Shakespeare, which is wonderful, and I think Shakespeare is awesome. But um, there are so many playwrights, and I know for a fact that if we search, we will be able to find BIPOC playwrights, BIPOC artists in the past because we've always existed. A lot of the issues in the music world, in the theater world, in the performing world, um, surrounding race are not only specific to this world. Um, Systemic racism is a battle, a war on so many fronts. And um, I think the only solutions to a systemic issue are systemic solutions.